to How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast. The show that gives you the insights, inspirations, and information to take your hairdressing and barbering careers to the next level. And here's your host, Dunne.
We are here, number 4 of what has been an absolutely epic day. And you are going to be in for a treat. Because if there's ever a moment in my life where I feel like I've invaded somebody's house, their party, their place, it's the person we're going to be bringing on. But if you're just joining us for the first time today, let me give you a quick heads up. I'm Dunne, host of the How to Cut It podcast, and I've been invited by the team at Weller, Andrew Dunne and Susan Inglay to come along and do a takeover. And we've been here throughout the day. We've had some amazing members here. I see Lee's here in the comments. And we've been interviewing members of the community, learning about their experiences, what it means for them, hearing about their journeys, where they all are. I'm going to flag up this lady because she's made it all really possible. Susan, great to see you. I hope you're enjoying the day. It's been great. And that's what we've been doing. And as I say, I host a podcast and I've had the pleasure to interview some of the greatest names in hairdressing. Trevor Sorby, Anthony Mascalo, Sophia Hilton. But this man coming up is going to be, I think, one of the biggest, and it really feels hardcore, this, I've got to say. We've been having a brilliant chat already for half hour, but the day has been, we kicked off with Lyndall in Australia, then we had a great chat with Harag in Armenia, then wonderful one with Elizabeth in the UK. We've learnt about them, so you can watch all those on catch-ups. And I am going to say for all of you, great, I can see your comments coming in, and so we can flag your names up onto the screen. Hi, Angela, you've been with us all day. Great to have you there. Lee's there. Hi, Brittany. So if you want to bring up your questions, comments, get involved in this show, just need to click on that link at the top, and that will allow us to see your name, bring up your face. So something else I'm going to mention to you before I bring this superstar onto your screen is that this is all being recorded for the How to Cut It podcast. Yeah, next Monday this is going out as the podcast. I can't wait to share it. So we are recording this as a podcast, but you guys are getting it live as it happens. So drum roll. Are we ready? Are we ready to invite the man you all love? It's his manor, and we're going to learn all about it. We're going to learn about him. So let's do it. Let's bring out of the green room and onto the screen Andrew Dunne. Andrew!
Good afternoon. How are you, Dom?
We were just saying, Andrew, this is a bit of a strange one for you because you are the man of this community. And Sunday service, I mean, it's huge. And how does it feel for you to be sat here and you being interviewed today?
It's a bit... from all the lives during lockdown, I sort of learned to sort of let go of that, that of just it being about me, just being, about the community, that we were able to bring in different artists and different stuff. So I've got got much better at sort of, understanding that. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But a bit strange, but I'm okay with it. But a part of me did go, you know what, I'd really like to learn more about Hag's background and how he got there. So I'll definitely probably interview him. And I mean, I know Liz so really well, and Lyndall did a live for us during lockdown. So they're part of the community. So I kind of know them all. And even when you're saying the names there, you're saying, oh, I see Brittany on the screen, or I see Lee. And I know that even though it's social media, these people are a part of my life, and I know them really well. And I watch Brittany. I just put up a live for her, and so it's just a whole bit. You understand, Dom? It's just a whole.
Again, we were
just
saying,
world that we live in.
We were just saying it's really rare for us to talk about our experiences because there's not many people, Andrew, that have gone this whole distance of really going digital and working hard at it. And your experiences have grown this community, and certainly the live show doesn't just happen overnight, does it, mate?
No, people, like I was just saying that to you. I know you've done like hundreds of podcasts, and people think, oh, I'll just do a podcast, and they do like a podcast. But you've done like hundreds of podcasts, and I've done hundreds of lives, So, we know how difficult it is to bring it every week and to bring it every day and to be consistent and to keep people engaged. And there is very few of us, who you don't learn this stuff in college, and there's nowhere to hide,
And I'm really keen because I don't actually know the real history to you and this community, and I don't want to hover on it so much because there's so much that
that you want to go through.
We could go through, but what I am keen, how long ago was it when you started this, and what was the light bulb? And did you start it?
Yeah, no, I started it. It was like one Friday morning. Now, I had other admin, I had other teams that came straight away that had worked on other pages with me. But I pressed a button 7:00 one Sunday morning, it was a Friday morning, and I think I was in Portugal or I was in Spain. I was in one of those resorts, and it was just one of those things that I was sort of hesitant to do. You know, I'd worked in different communities, I'd worked in different pages. I was seen as the go-to person, you know, and then I just become more and more like that, and the responsibility had grown. And I'd had a meeting with a few people who worked for Wella like a few months before that, and they said, if you do ever decide to go out on your own and to do something independently and it takes off, you know, let us know and let's get involved. So there was a part of that in me as well, that if I take this route and I can make it successful, you know, that it could become something much bigger, you know. So I had so that was the main reason. But yeah, I did. It was really nervous. It was a really nervous time. And sort of 24 hours into, I sort of posted my first picture, and then a great member, Lucian, from Romania, one of the best hairdressers in the world. Lucian posted a picture. I always remember Lucian. I was in a playground with my 4-year-old, and then Lucian posted a picture, and then Galini, and then Nick, and then it just started to happen, you know. And then obviously, you know, Nick, you know, the amount of work that goes into keeping people engaged every day of their lives. 7 days a week.
We were just saying about this power of digital, and it seems like the industry, Andrew, has only just woken up to digital. Like this live as a moment that happened in lockdown.
Yeah, no, I know for you and me, it's so like I've you know, I've spoken to people in Geneva and in London, and I've given keynote speeches. I did one for Facebook about it, you know what I mean?
Did you
I actually
really?
did a keynote speech. Yeah, I did one for Facebook about lives, you know, for just on how I approached them, because they talk to different community members, and so they even they didn't see Facebook becoming such a group-led community space as it has become, and they actually love it now. You know, it has become it. But yeah, for you and me, I saw superstars rising in hairdressing that were coming from social media, and that were coming from their small salons with a phone, and these people were superstars. And I could see it happening. You could see it happening. But I think for the companies, because they were like 3 or 4 layers away from that, and they were working in a different marketing space, they probably weren't aware of it as much. And in many ways, the lockdown just brought it into focus of like how well known someone like you or someone like me is, even though we just live normal.
Do you have to go everywhere with sunglasses and a hat on now, Andrew?
No, but you do get people.
Salon International, that's always a test, mate, isn't it? When you go Salon International and you get somebody that actually recognises you, did you like that?
Yeah, I went and did a show. I did I think it was Lisbon. I did a keynote speech for Wella in Lisbon, and that's actually when me and Susan became really good friends. We hooked up, and she was stuck listening to me for the whole weekend. And I did a keynote. It was in Lisbon for a creative retreat, and everybody knew me, but I didn't know them. And that was a bit of a moment really on that Friday, because they were all like, you and your wife and your kids and you live and you're small, and they know everything about you because you're on every Sunday, and you don't know anything about them. And that was like, I got up the next morning, I put up a tweet. I said that was pretty actually, a girl we both know, Shakira, who was she was my contact. She was my Wella angel. And I sort of, at about 10:30, she said to me, "Do you want to leave?" You know, because I had the keynote the next day, and you know, you want to be prepared. And there were people coming over, and I left, and she said, "Jesus, everybody knows you." And I was like, "You know, it's the phone." I said, "It's the phone." I said, "Nobody watches TV anymore. Everybody's on the phone."
What it is at that palm of the hand. And
yeah.
I've got to ask you a question, which I think is always, because you have an incredible energy, right? You burst out it. You own the screen. You own Sunday service. You hold a show. Is there a super confident, have no fear kind of guy there, presents? Do you just kind of cruise into it, or below all this is a little bit of the vulnerable?
Yeah, no, you know, you like, as you would understand from doing podcasts, you get weeks where things are not going your way, things aren't great to sell. You might be a family, there could be somebody who could be sick, you know, but you've got to turn up. You've got to turn up, and you've got to, you know. So there's a lot of preparation involved in making it look like there isn't a lot of preparation involved. You know, so that's
what kind of preparation then, Andrew? I'm keen to know that when you talk about preparation. So we're talking about Sunday service. What is a preparation for delivering that show every week?
So usually I follow the community really keenly to see what's going on, because like 30,000 professional hairdressers equates to about 50 million followers, you know. So for you could have somebody on our community who has maybe 2 or 3 million followers, and so they're in touch with their followers, and they're in touch with themselves, and so they can sort of say, you know, something about confidence, or something about pricing, or something about a new product, or something about bleach, and it takes off. Or so it can just be sometimes about coppers, or different types of things. And usually a light bulb will go off in my head. Usually something will, you know, I will sort of try to work on that. And then I'm following and I'm listening to, you know, you get people putting up a post saying, like, you know, I've had a couple of redos this week and I just feel like I've no confidence. And, you know, a lot of the problems aren't hairdressing problems. And because I'm 30 years behind the chair and I'm self-trained, and, you know, there was no education, and I sweat buckets to get really good at what you did. I think a part of me as well I don't want anyone to have to go through that anymore.
Is that why it suits you being part of a community then? Is this the place which you think for yourself you feel really at home here, because you identify with the battles that, you know, your members may be going through, the highs they're going through?
I definitely understand. I understand that you have to earn trust, and I understand connection, and I understand being disenfranchised, and I understand disappointments, and I understand, you know, I've often been at hair shows, and I've watched, say, loads of shows, and everybody's using wigs, and they're all doing, and it's fabulous models, and it's all wigs, and it's left me really empty, you know. And I'd come back from a hair show.
Why does it leave you empty, Andrew?
Well, you know, I'd love it from an aspirational point of view, but I always wanted that. I always wanted the behind the chair hairdresser to have more influence in the industry. I always wanted. I just always felt that was, you know, lacking, and I think at certain stages in my career I saw certain key people on the internet who I think felt the same way, and they started to reach out and go, you know what, this is what I do and this is my formula, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Why is it important to champion people behind the chair?
Because I'm one, you know, and because
what do we mean by somebody behind the chair?
Well, like, to be a hairdresser, or a colorist, or to work in a salon, to you know, to be behind it, to make people, to work with people, and to try and make the best of people. I think it's the core of our industry, and I think sometimes it gets left behind a little bit. And I do love aspirational, and I do love inspirational, but if there's a disconnection between the aspirational and the hairdresser if the hairdresser who works every day behind the chair isn't getting anything from that show that can make them better at their jobs, I found that I didn't like that. You know, it just wasn't for me. I wanted them to go away and sort of say, I want to try that tomorrow. I want to be that blonde. You know, I just always wanted an element of that. And when I saw certain people doing it online before me, then I was like, this is what I'm going to do. You know, it was like light bulb moments.
Has there been moments for you? So you own a salon?
Yeah.
Is it a big salon?
No, it's a small salon, but there's about 10 or I don't know what you term small. I think there's about 9. There's 9 to 13, 14 staff.
That's enough still, isn't it? That's enough.
It's big. Like, I work 4 days a week, 5 days a week. I've worked nearly 6 days a week since I came back, which has been really challenging, because I've been working 6 days a week, and then you've got up and you have Sunday service, and then you sort of Monday off, and then you're back at it the next day. Right. So that's been a challenge. I'm
going to challenge something. And by the way, Georgia, hi Georgia, we're going to be on the show soon, so I'll be in touch with you. I was just saying, let me just bring up here, Andrew. She says, I absolutely agree. Champion the person behind the chair. And it seems to be becoming ever more of a conversation, because there seems to be such a fixation towards maybe so many other sides of the industry: influencer, digital, educator, which are all fantastic, but maybe we have, as an industry, we do have to find ways that kind of really get the focus back on being a hairdresser, what the actual value of being a hairdresser is.
Like it means so, like, I find it hard to speak because it means so much to me, and then there's different layers of that. Like, people like Tracy, on wrong side of the Atlantic would have championed the sort of mobile and the freelance, and would have been their voice, and taught me so much about, you know, how many people were not only behind the but who were disenfranchised at other areas, who were terrific hairdressers, people who had retired and never got a chance to become the hairdressers they were going to be, like Liz's team, and they're in their 40s, and all they need is visual stimulation and they'll go through the roof, and all that stuff that really lights me up. You know what I mean?
What lights you up in your career then, Andrew? Well, you know, if you actually go back to the young Andrew sort of growing up, was there always, you know, the spotlight? Is that something that actually quite appeals to you?
Well, yeah.
Honest.
Good question. I liked being, you know what I liked being? I liked being behind the front man. That was my perfect job. Like, so Shay Dempsey, the global director of Sebastian, he hired me and he mentored me.
Midfielder.
He put me, there's people sending me messages here. It's so funny. When you're on live, they send you messages to put you off.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep them going.
He mentored me, and I did a lot of stage with Shay, and he, you know, I was just behind Shay. I was like Shay's. He used to call me his conscience, you know what I mean? Because I'd say, Shay, this is what I take, you know. So I was mentored very well by Shay and by different people throughout my career. I mean, I grew up loving Orbay. I grew up loving incredible session hairdressers who were incredible at doing hair, even though I'm a colorist. You know, I did love hair. I grew up loving. I grew up loving show people and showmen, and I feel I'm more of a spokesperson for hairdressers, and I'm more of a coach, and I'm more of a sort of a mentor and stuff than I am like you know. Like if I meet somebody on the street, or I meet somebody on the bus, or somebody's singing a song that I sang on Sunday to me when I'm getting on the bus, which happens quite regularly.
Everybody keeps saying about singing songs, yeah.
You know, people are just like, yeah, you know, you're having a note in your head, or, you know, I saw you on Sunday, and this type of thing. Like, I don't feel I have to pretend that I'm somebody else, you know what I mean? So I just have to be, you know, Andrew, you know what I mean? And I don't have to be...
But so come on then, Andrew. I love to know the real... Sometimes, I'm sure, you know, it's like me. This is who I am. This is you on the screen. But away from the screen, is there always that very upbeat energy of yours? Are you, you know, can there be a more, you know, quite a more, I don't know, who is Andrew away from the hair camera and the hair scene?
You can't draw, like, you have to draw, if you're going to go live like every week and you're going to try and connect with people, you have to draw stuff from within yourself to be able to connect with somebody. There has to be something inside you that they connect with, you know. So you have to be willing to draw things out of yourself that are problems for you, because they're problems for everybody. So, like, I do have a strong inner life, and I do talk about it on Sunday service quite a lot. I'll talk about stuff, and then I do invest in myself. I do other coaching myself, or I work with other people that I feel can bring out the best in me, or can challenge me, you know, or can make me look at the way I live and way I feel. So I'm constantly working on myself, which makes me then constantly work with the community. So, you know, there's layers to me, but I wouldn't be able to talk about the stuff that I talk about if I didn't go through it myself. I mean, I couldn't talk about anxiety unless I knew exactly how that felt.
Is that something you have ever had to deal with?
I've gone through anything I talk about. I'd have to have a solution for. You know, there was once a long time ago I spoke about positive and negative energies, that they're just energies, and we are the ones who say that they're positive or negative. You know, we are the ones who go, that's negative, but it isn't true. It's just our belief systems, you know. And I spoke about this, but I didn't have a solution, and a member contacted me during the week going, like, I have real problems with this, and I need to overcome it, and I didn't have an answer for her, and I was like, and I went off, and I came back and I said to her, you know, what you focus on grows, so you need to focus on, you know, what you want in your life. And, you know, so we came to it, but it was a lesson for me to sort of say, well, if I'm going to go live with stuff, and I'm going to have to have solutions. You know, I can't just go live and start talking about, you know, how tough life is, and not have something that can make somebody's life less tough. So I have learned along the way, as you do if you're going live every Sunday, that, you know, there's a responsibility on my shoulders as well. You know, not just as a Wella boy. Everybody sees me as the Wella boy. I don't even get invited to hair shows now that are not Wella, because then when I'm at the hair show, everybody goes, "There's your man from Wella." Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you that. Then you just mentioned that question. Thank you for sharing that, Andrew. That was cool. If you just sharing that. Does it ever get in the way of just being Wella for you? Does it kind of restrict you? And I hope that isn't the wrong question to ask.
No, it is. No, not at all. No, it doesn't really. It doesn't. There was a time where I didn't want that responsibility. You know, when I worked online, particularly when I was on different pages, particularly when I was on Wrong Side, I was the go-to guy with anything to do with Wella. And I would always answer my questions with Wella. So if they said another company, I'd always say, well, this is what I'd use in Wella. You know, but if they didn't like Wella, I didn't have to fight the battle. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have to say, well, you know, I think you're wrong. I would just have to say, well, try the product. I think it's the best thing that I've ever used, and it's the best company. You know, I didn't have to. I did that sort of. But then after a while, I found myself in. I was asked to run a community that was Wella dedicated, and that was it only had about 1,000
So did Wella
members.
ask you to set this community up?
No, this was another community I worked on. It was an independent community, and I was approached in this community to say, would you come on as admin and help us, because we love Wella, but we don't have the Wella experience that you have, and we don't have. They weren't in their 50s, Tom. They didn't have what I've seen and what I've been. You know, they just didn't have that level of experience, and you need. Like, if you're going to recommend online, you need to have that trust. You need to be able to say to somebody, you know, use this and it's going to work for you, because they're nervous. And then when it works out, they're your friend for life. So there is a, when you are a mentor, you have to be aware of that responsibility. But once I stepped into that role as the go-to sort of Wella person online, I was very comfortable with it. But I'd worked online for a good few years. As you know, Dom, overnight successes happen over a 10 or 15 year period, you know, and you've been doing podcasts for like years, and I've been going live for years. So, you know,
where's it all guiding you to then?
I definitely think like my life is going more in the direction of working in probably keynote speeches and, behind the scenes of hair shows and, and
could that mean maybe coming away from being the hairdresser behind the chair?
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm at that age where I'll still always be behind the chair, because behind the chair is a love for me. Like, I love doing clients, I love doing colour, I love doing blondes, I love my job, you know what I mean? But I also love connecting with people. I love being a part of the industry. I'd love to travel and go to different salons. I'd love to see how other people worked. I'd love to see their colour sections. I'd love to be in their salon for a few days and watch their clients. And I'd love to have a chat with the staff. And
how can that happen then, Andrew? How could you make this happen?
That can happen. You know, all those things can happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's like how can you go live from your bedroom on a Sunday and have thousands of people watching you? You know.
Is that, by the way, where you go live? It is your bedroom, is it?
It's my bedroom. Yeah, it's my bedroom. It's where I go live from. Yeah, like it's you know, there's so many, you know, people will say, oh, you have to like. I'm not really a ladder person. I just think you can, you know, all these things are attainable. You know what I mean? You just have to have momentum, and you have to work at it. You have to keep tapping the old brick, and you know, these things can happen. You know, But, you know, if a version of that happens, like, there's always going to be different versions of what happens and what you want happening. And, you know, so, I would have strong belief in myself that I could do most things myself anyway. You know, as you have, Dom, you're a one-man show. So you understand that, you know, if you'd waited for somebody to come up and start the podcast for you, it would have never happened. You know what I mean? So a lot of the time, we're very much... I wouldn't say ahead of our time, but we've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this type of stuff for a long time. So we're actually a little bit ahead of the marketers, and we're a little bit ahead of other people like that. So if we're looking for other people to create this for us, they're sort of not where we are. So we sometimes have to create ourselves, I'm afraid. But that's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing to be able to not be like I do. You don't build a community unless you believe you're a creator, or you don't do podcasts and what you do unless you believe, you know, you can do it. You know what I mean? But if you had waited for somebody else to go, hey, Dom, what do you think about, and it would have never happened. You know, I would say.
Perfect. I totally agree with that. So this community, you know, we've been here today because I keep saying 30,000, but it's over 31,000, Andrew. How does that sound to you?
We like it to build it organically as well. We don't.
So everything has been organically done, and so how has that happened? How have you found the growth of this community? When did you start to think, this is really starting to happen?
I did a live. I think it was probably not this last Christmas. It was the Christmas before, and I think there was about 20,000 people on the page at the time. And I was a little bit. I didn't know what I was going to do going live that week, so I just started to do something about like the way I approach highlights and the way I do hair. And I was chatting away, and it was you get some Sundays where you're really in the flow. You're just really in the flow, and everything is just like Tiger Woods hitting a golf ball. You're just completely in the flow. You don't know, you don't remember. You watch it back, and you just go, God, you're just in the flow. And that's where all the prep comes in. All the prep comes in, and that creates the flow. And I knew there was a lot of people on. I had a feeling there was a lot of, because sometimes the numbers you don't know. You know yourself about engagement. You don't know till it's over. And there was about 15, 20,000 people watched it that week, and there was only 23 in the group. And I was like, and then people were talking about the live all that week, and I knew then, I was like, that this is something really big, because you had people talking about it on Instagram. You had people talking about other just other stuff. So I just that was a moment, not a moment where I thought, oh, I'm a star. No, but that was a moment where I thought, something happened on that Sunday. I was so relaxed with such a big audience that I was able to do it. And when I came off, you just knew you had. You
felt you were in the groove, and it was just feeling right. So would you say the real building block of this community has been built around Sunday service?
No, I don't. I wouldn't. No, Sunday service is something that happens. Again, as I'm talking about me coaching and working with different people, was I actually did something with a guy about where I should be going with my career, because I was stalled. I didn't know. I was salon owner, and the brand, and I'd won best salon, and I'd won the Irish Times best retail experience. I'd done a lot of stuff, and I was a little bit like I didn't know what was next for me, and I just really didn't know where. And this guy came in, and he did like a circle of what you love and what your skills are, and what makes you money, and he sort of kept breaking it down to sort of financially, you're never going to make money from singing. You know what I mean? This type of thing.
Not your singing anyway.
Singing. Yeah, I love singing, but you're never going to make money from it. Okay. So we were breaking things down, and I loved going. I loved communicating. I loved paying it forward. I loved education. I loved being myself. I loved authenticity. It was all the stuff kept coming up, and he said to me, he said, you need to go live. You need to work on social media live. He said, as an educator in your trade or in whatever you want to do, he said, because that's just who you are. This is what is next for you. And he basically put it up to me. He basically put it. I was in Thailand one Sunday, and he contacted me through a video call, and he said, "Have you gone live yet?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Why haven't you gone live?" And I paid this guy to sort of do this for me, this information. And I said, "You paid me to get you to do this, and you haven't done it." He said, "And he was like, we really having a go at me." And he said, like, count to 3, think of the 4 favourite people you have. He said, go live. And I said, go live? I'm in the middle of Bangkok. He said, yeah, it's a beautiful skyline. And I was like, I really, really put it up to me. And I went live. I went live from a Bangkok skyline. I just said, this is Bangkok. I'm in Bangkok tonight. My wife's Thai, my kids are here, and I'm going to go here for something to eat. And I went live. And then I went live that Sunday. I had wonderful.
Okay.
Niall Polkin was on. Niall.
You say that live. What was it that the live was going to give to your community? So here you are, Andrew, live. What do your community get from you going live?
Well, it's just there's a sense of for lives that's a big question. I mean, this is nearly an hour long question, but
goodness, right? Hang on, let me just get comfy.
But to understand communities, which so many people don't understand communities. But to understand communities, you have creators, you have managers, you have administration, you have superstars, you have stars, you have football players, you have fans, you have the audience, you have the distractors, you have the people who hate you, you have the rivalry, and yet so that's a community. So if it's so important that the creator does his job, and that the management do their job, and that the admin do their job, and that the stars get to shine, and that the brilliant footballers teams support them, and that the audience becomes a football player. Sometimes the audience can become creators. All these roles are interchangeable.
I often have used that myself. It's almost like your support, become part of that team. So who are you in that football team?
Well, I would have been a player. I would have been a player manager, and I was the creator. But I think I would be probably the because I'm on the pitch every day. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not like I'm not like Abramovich who just sits back. If you know what I'm saying.
I think you've got a bit of Alex Ferguson a bit about you. I think you could be a little bit of that.
There can't be hairdryer moments, you know. You do have to.
Can you have those moments then, Andrew? Have you got a little bit of a? Is there a fiery temper in that Irish soul of yours?
I like if you build something like this, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. You know, days when you build something like this, and when somebody sort of gets on and ditches the page, or ditches the community, or ditches the products, or ditches other members, or I do get.
Do you have to deal with that? Has that happened?
Yeah, I do. Oh, big time. I've had.
So what happens? Do you get rid of them out of the community, or do you have a friendly word?
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. You know, I've had personal stuff thrown at me. I've had to deal with stuff. I do. You know, but I do try to do as much in front of the community as I possibly can, because the community gains strength through it. You know what I mean? Because you do have to cut, and the more successful you become, the more you're gonna come up against other people who don't want that to happen. So you do. So I do take it quite personally. I mean, Sue has said to me, you shouldn't take it so personal, and I'm like, well, I do take it personal. I do, and that's what makes a community. I think is that you do take it quite, you know, but particularly as some people are just. As well, if you grow too quickly, you'll have people who don't understand the ethos of the page. You know, so you do have to let things grow organically, so that they learn from the other members.
Are you still very hands-on with this community as well? Because I know there are communities. I have the How to Cut It hairdressing community group. I'm very hands-on. I manage it. Are you very much like that as well? You're approving what comes in. You're watching everything that's going on in this group.
Yeah, well, again, I know the players, I know the stars, I know the audience. You know what I mean? I know my community really, really well, and I know the hairdressing community. There's very few people online I couldn't reach out to from any of the pages to any of the superstars. There's very few that I couldn't sort of PM and go, you know, and that they wouldn't get back to me quickly because I've
got to ask you a question. Sorry, Andrew, I jumped in. How rude of me.
Well, go for it.
It came to my mind. All right, and if you had to pick a team, right? Everyone has a superstar striker.
Yeah.
Right, every team, right?
Yeah.
No pressure, but you may upset. But there's always who's the goal scorer who's going to bag you 40 goals in a season at the most.
What, like as in a community member? That's difficult because I've got lots of stars. You know what I mean? I've got lots and lots of stars.
Okay, could you pick a front line?
Like I'm on the front line because I post every day. You know what I mean? So it's a difficult one. So I'm in there as well because I post every day. Like I would have.
Come on, everybody's hanging on this now, Andrew.
Okay, I would have 50. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have 50 in my head right now.
And you can go through them in the comments later, but we want to know those. You're going to have to put 2 strikers up there for today's game.
No. I'm not gonna do it.
It's worth the try. Well, we'll put you in there, and
there's so many people who just like there's people who are really aspirational. You know, like Lucian is really aspirational in Romania. You know, Hag is really aspirational because he's young and he's hungry. Brittany, there's so many that just come through. Cassandra Foy, and then there's like the people who do lives who are just incredible. You watch people grow. I've watched people like Cassandra, you know, start to post, and then I've watched her, you know, make well a hair, and then I've watched her being on the Instagram page, and then I've watched her doing a live, and then you know, and then I've watched her, you know, she did a post last week, a 6-hour balayage transformation, and very few people that I know in the world could have done.
I've just been pulled up there by Paula. She says unfair question. It was, but sorry, my football sort of head came on there.
Yeah, but if you want me to name a football striker, actual football striker.
Where's Susan on this, by the way? Where's Susan in the football team?
Sue came in. Sue manages me, and then there's all the admin team. I mean, the admin team have been with me. So even before Sue, I mean, Nick and Pamela and Galini and Matthias and Stuart and Anna Vaughan. I mean, I rang.
So we're getting them 50 now, aren't we? See, I knew you'd come up.
Yeah, like it's so difficult because I couldn't like Nick Khan is Nick and Pamela. I literally after I started the page, it was like 10 to 7. I went down and had my breakfast in the hotel, and then I started ringing people who I've never met. I've met Nick now, but I've never met Galini, but I know him like a brother, and I've never met Anna Vaughan, but she's one of the greatest technicians I've ever had an opportunity to work with. So I then started ringing people and going, do you want to be involved? I rang Matthias because he's one of the... Matthias is a superstar. Like, Matthias is an absolute superstar hairdresser and was really had a difficult time.
Andrew, you are going to have to go through every name in a minute.
Yes.
You love them all, and I think the one thing that comes... It was a very unfair question of mine, and I think you've just named so many. But look, it comes through. You value all of your community, and it's so hard.
You know what? For me, like when somebody puts up a picture of an older lady and they've nailed the tint and it's a beautiful colour and it's just a gorgeous tint and it really suits her skin tone and her eye colour, they're my favourites. They are always my favourites because it takes a lot of courage to post. They've done something elegantly. They've done it really well. They probably have a 30-year clientele. They've probably spent maybe 2-3 million with Wella over their career. To me, they are the most valued people and the most pearls that somebody who probably doesn't even have like a very good phone has found a way to take a picture of her mum's colour, and that's everything to me. That they are the things that I remember. They're the things that well me up. They're the reasons I do fight. That's the reason I have the community. This is that it goes across generations. That you have younger and older, and it doesn't matter whether what religion you are. It's all about hair, and it's all about sharing formulas, and they're the things that really mean a lot to me. Are the pictures like that, or somebody just getting better. Somebody just getting better. The strikers for me are the people that are coming up and getting better, and they don't have to be 18.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
I see like
she just says, I hardly ever post a picture because I just can't take a picture. Let me just bring that up. I like that. Can't just have, but I feel part of the family anyway. So there are many members in the community, Andrew, that maybe don't post. They sort of sit there quietly.
Like loads. There's loads. Like, but that goes back to the analogy of understanding what communities are. Like you have so many fans, of football, but it doesn't mean they play football. But they love football and they watch it every Sunday and they never miss a game. And they go in every Monday and if you told them about Blondorplex, they go in on a Monday and they're going to buy it. And then they're going to bring you a picture up and they're going to go, I tried it and it worked. And they're going to go, I bought the Relights and I bought it and it worked. And they wouldn't have ever heard of Relights or they wouldn't have ever heard of Blondorplex unless they had a rep. And these days there isn't as many reps as there used to be, particularly if you're freelance. So their connection with hairdressing is me. Their connection to a salon is me. Their connection to new products is me. And they trust me. So if I say to them, give it a go, they're going to give it a go. And if they give it a go and it makes their job easier and it makes their life easier, they're community members for life. They will get a tattoo because you have made their day better. You've made their jobs better. And it doesn't matter if they don't take a picture. So they're fans or they're just part of the audience, and that's okay. People get a little bit head up in communities that people have to be a certain way and there have to be a certain engagement, a certain profile, and it's just not true. Like Liz's fantastic team, they're all in their 40s. I mean, would you love to work in that salon?
Oh, I love that conversation.
Imagine the crack, working there.
It was fantastic. I love this comment just coming in again, Andrew. I know you can't see them on the screen, but I'm just, Lorraine Hayden, can't tell you how much the Weller community page has helped me with confidence the last few months. How lovely is that? When you hear comments like that, isn't that what it's all about?
But like we spoke about the inner critic. We were talking about, the voices in our heads. It's too light, it's too dark, it's too bright, it's too this, it's too that. And then she gets a blow dried off. She tells you it's gorgeous, and you've gone through hell in your head for 25 minutes, and she actually hasn't even. She's like, I love it, and you're like, oh my god. So we talk a lot about stuff like that because these are the issues that I go through behind the page. No matter how many years you want clients to love and approve you, but it doesn't mean it's the right way to live. So we deal. I mean, what makes the community so special is that we deal with the human aspect of hairdressing. Really, before we deal with hairdressing, and then it is put up to them that they should get proper education and they should get proper training, because again, you have disenfranchised situations where people are freelance and they want to learn and they want to become better and they want to work 2 or 3 days a week and they want to have families and they want to have kids and they don't want to work in a salon, or like Liz said, she was working 40, 50 hours a week doing 80 clients. I mean, that she just didn't want to do it. That's not a hairdresser. She wanted to do things at her own pace, at her own, and then she could set her price.
I think that's really important, actually, isn't it? That we have this, different freedom, different ways that we can go with our career as well, isn't it, Andrew? And that's so important. And I think that hairdressing as an industry can offer you that, and it depends on where you want to take that and help you discover that next step.
Yeah, because it isn't just a bit like we were talking about wealth last night, that wealth is a feeling, wealth isn't money. So, I mean, for some people, if they did 2, maybe 3 clients a day and they did them and they absolutely nailed them and they took lovely pictures and they put them up on their Instagram and everybody loves them and they charge them a decent amount of money but not a huge amount of money, and they make a few quid but they don't make loads of money, and they get to enjoy doing hairdressing, that's far more important to them than working in a salon on a target. That they want to, and I'd say to them, like, they could be charging double, triple that, but it's their chance to do beautiful hair and to take a photograph of it which lasts forever and post it on the Wella page, and someone like me goes, you go for it, Dunne. Go for it, Dunne. You've nailed it.
What do you think many of them are doing then, Andrew? When they put that picture on there and they work tirelessly behind the chair and they just love it. What do you think a big dream is for many that maybe come into the community and post their work? What is it do you think they want?
I think it's an opportunity for them to express their creativity and to have their moment. I mean, it's so difficult. Like when you look at like social media and the way it's ran, at a certain level, it's about levels, it's about imagery, and it's about branding, and it's about consistency. Where what we do in community is about support, it's about education, it's about paying it forward. It's about helping each other. So it's a platform for them to then go on to become, like I've seen that with Cassandra, to then go on and become, or Hag. They'll probably go on and become platform artists, and they'll go on.
But what a feeling that would be for you to see that happen as you nurture your football
100%,
team.
I cannot see it not happening. You know what I mean? Because all the stars will come from these areas. Nobody gets to profile anybody anymore. It's not people profile themselves, so all you can do is sort of spot them and go, they have the opportunity to be really big, but it's a completely different world now. And for me, so many of the community members could fill a stadium. They could fill a because they have 30,000 people looking at their work every day who are professional hairdressers. It's not consumers, it's not clients, it's just other hairdressers, and other hairdressers love to look at other hairdressers.
And we're coming towards the latter part of this. It's absolutely fantastic. And by the way, everybody, I am recording this as a How to Cut It podcast. And me and Andrew, we sat honestly in the green room before coming on here earlier. We said we could probably talk for 24 hours very easy. We've already been talking for about another 45 minutes before this. So it feels so good to talk to you, Andrew. And I love your honesty. And I love the energy that comes through. I love the community. I love Heather, by the way. She put this comment up, and I know she's done lots of lives for you guys. I blow dry my clients thinking all the while, this is going to look great on the page. That's so true, isn't it, for a hairdresser to be thinking there's it's a bit like producing a bit of art and you paint it. You want to use it, don't you? You want to showcase what you're doing.
It's there forever. I remember Anthony Moscolo saying to me years ago, I used to do a bit of work when he left Tony and Guy. I used to do a bit of colour because Nick, his side guy, really trusted me, and Shay used to work with Anthony and I used to work with Nick, And I remember we were doing a shoot, and he had these Macintoshes, like this is 15, 20 years ago, where like Macintoshes were these huge things. And he was taking the pictures, and I had done the blonde, and he just went and he looked at the Macintosh like that, and he just went, okay, we've got the picture, that's it. And I was like, you know, this is mad, you know, because he'd be at shoots and they'd be like shooting for 18 hours, you know what I mean? You wouldn't. And he had the shot, and I was like, how does he know he has the shot? I said to Nick, and he just pulled me aside. You wouldn't talk, you know. You wouldn't talk to Anthony unless he talked to you. You'd be afraid of him because he's a genius, you know. And he said to me, "Come here, and I'm going to tell you." He said, "In the future, people would just take pictures of their work and they'll put it up on the internet, and they'll go around the world." And I remember saying, "He's mad. Like, he's mad." You know what I mean? I went outside and I was smoked at the time, and I was like that outside going, "He's mad. He is."
I bet he was inside thinking the same about you, really.
Because I mean, I didn't even have a computer at the time. I had a Nokia phone. You know what I mean? I had
a Nokia phone too. Blue.
You know, I didn't have a laptop. You know, I didn't have. There was desktops and they were used. This is how long ago it was, and how right he was. Do you know what I mean? And how you know how right he was, and like people like Heather sent me a note at the end of lockdown, because Heather became a star on the page all through lockdown, and she got us through some of the darkest days. Just listening to Heather going, "Hello, how are you?" And her dog Logan.
Fantastic. I must admit, I came into the community a lot during the lives, and obviously Patrick as well, Patrick Cameron.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah. I mean, his lives, Heather's lives, you know, there was so many coming in, and it's been so great to see Weller really embracing this page as well, and I think it's really grown up for Weller, and certainly somebody who's just, you know, looks in a little bit more independently. It has been great.
That's where I have to tip my hat to Sue, because I mean Sue and Randall and Mary in Wella, because they reached out to me, and I didn't know what to do. The salons were closing around the world, and I was like I was looking back at all my content, and I was sort of saying to myself, well, I can repost all my pictures, and I can do special days on blondes, and I can, you know, and I was worried for my own career. I went live that Thursday, and I got deeply upset because I was talking about the front line. So I was emotional, and you know, Randall rang me, and we had like a 2-hour conversation, and then Mary said, I'm going to put, like, Sue was already with me, but this was another level. Sue then came on board, and we sort of worked together every day, and I said, Sue, I think this is what we can do. And Sue said it to me, and I mean, Sue just grabbed that, and she rehearsed every one of those lives. She tested everybody.
Love Sue's testing page, by the way. Very good call that.
And like her, and she was aware, like, I'm such a hairdresser and I'm such aware of the community. So when you're talking to me, you're talking to 30,000 voices. So that can be difficult, because I'm in the community all the time. So I know what they want. I know what they need. I'm like the ultimate market research, that, you know, I'm like the ultimate browser, because I know exactly. I mean, I've got 30,000 people in my head going, you know, we need this product and we need that. And Sue stepped up. I mean, and even with Heather, and Heather went live and we shared it on the page. And we both said, I love Heather. And Heather said, you love Heather. I love her dog. And she's like, yeah, I love her dog too. I said, I love the fact that she has a dog, you know, in the live. And Sue said, that's what I love too. And I knew then, I said, Sue gets it. Sue gets it, you know.
She's fantastic. She manages this. And look, Andrew, time, and I've got sort of some questions that I want to ask, and I am going to have to sadly could bring it to an end, because we could talk so much.
We've only just touched I could go live straight after you. I mean, it's my page.
You can do what you want. This is it. This is me out.
I can sing. I can get the song out.
Yeah. You know? Everybody keeps saying about your singing, Andrew. We hear you singing. I don't want to hear you sing. These
I don't blame you.
Tendering my ears.
When my kids hear me sing now, I always sing at the end instead of the start. They prefer that, because they know now that it's over. So they're like, oh, thank God, he's finishing up.
Oh, he's upstairs. He's singing again. It's all right. He'll be downstairs.
We can play our iPads again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly. You put your Wi-Fi back on. That's it. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So, come on. What message do you want to give to your community, Andy? Andy, what message do you want to give to your community?
God, I mean, it's hard. Thank you all for thank you all for respecting each other and for showing that hairdressing doesn't have to be an ego space where it's them against us and it's all this type of, if somebody's better than you, that you have to pull them down, because we have shown that hairdressers aren't actually like that we can pay it forward. And just because you share your secrets, it doesn't mean that you're still, you're less of a hairdresser. It actually means you're more of a hairdresser, because you need to let go of that to bring in the new, and by you letting go of your secrets, you actually learn somebody else's, because then they share theirs and you go, oh my God, so by me sharing, then Lucian shares, and by Lucian shares, Cassandra shares, and by all of us sharing, we all just become better magicians. And for trusting me as well, for trusting me to, for it's so difficult. People have to give their formulas, they have to give their technique, they have to understand it's an education page, they have to understand 50% of the people don't even speak English, so they have to use Google Translate. So you have to, there's rules and etiquette on the page, and they understand that, and they understand that it's for the benefit and the welfare of the whole community, not just one segment of it.
Right, Andrew, I want you to do something very special for me.
Yeah.
All right? You like singing, don't you?
Well, I've have to get a birthday request just before you, so I have to.
Well, we're going to do her, because there's this guy here, Sasho.
Oh, Sasho's birthday today, yes.
Happy birthday, come on, to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sasho. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, there you go. Boom. Yeah, very good. Happy birthday, Sasho. We had to do it. I saw him drop in there, so happy birthday to... And did you say another happy birthday as well?
I have, yeah. Well, I'm going to do a video. Sometimes you get these requests. Somebody sends through, says, my mum watches you every Sunday, so would you send me a birthday request? So when I go off here, I'm going to film something mad for her, and she's 53. I'm 53, so I'm gonna do that personal and send it off.
Amazing. Right, Andrew, I'm going to finish. I've got to answer these questions. It has gone on longer than I knew, but hey, and you're going to have to answer these quickly, because I've got the hair show to do, and I've got loads to get done with that as well.
Just talk about us tonight,
Yeah, the hair show. So if you want a bit more, this is a magazine show on Facebook.
It's on at 8 o'clock tonight.
8 o'clock, all being well. So Georgia and girls, Jordana, if you're watching,
Jordana,
I will be getting on it, honestly. So last 5 questions, and they've got to be quick, Andrew. One word that best defines you as a hairdresser.
Blonde.
Why would you best recommend a career in hairdressing?
Fun.
What top tip would you give to a young hairdresser wanting to take their hair career to the next level?
Share.
You travel back in time to a 16-year-old Andrew. What advice would you give him?
It's called dyslexia. Don't take it personal. And I wish somebody had told you that when you were 16.
That's beautiful. Which new hair industry star do you highly rate?
That's so tough. I mean, there's so many. Cassandra, Brittany.
Oh, we'll be back to them 50.
Elizabeth, because they're not. It's not young. There's people who are destined to be successful and they're in their 50s. That there's, you're not old at 50 anymore, Tom. We're both at that age. You're not old. Like Gary V always says it. 50's not old anymore. There's so many people who are doing stuff now because they're in the, and it's not about age. It's not about your male or female or, it's just there's opportunities out there to shine and to just grab them, and be yourself. But there's no point in becoming successful if you have to fake it, because then you can never be yourself in front of other people, and that's just a horrible life. I have clients who are very successful and they're two different people, and it's a horrible life. So just be yourself. And if you can be successful being yourself, well then that's a win. That's a real win.
Perfect. Well, there's a quick answer for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andrew, look, I've sat here most of nearly an hour or so with a smile on my face because
you've done well.
That's how great, yes, many would have gone to tears. Look, just thank you on behalf of your community that you've built. It's been an honour for me to be able to interview such a big personality, somebody so respected in this industry. I can't tell you how good that's been. And thank you so much for allowing me to do this today. It really has been an absolute pleasure. So,
well, thanks for being here, Tom. I'm a huge fan of your work. I'm a huge fan. I follow your podcast. I was doing a show in Casablanca, and I was in the maddest taxi of all time. And I thought, this guy's going to bring me down a lane and kill me. And what I decided to do was I just sat there and I said, I'll listen to Dom and I'll listen to Sean Dawson. And I put you and Sean Dawson in my ear. And I had Sean going, I'm not taking that. And I'm not going here. And I had you going, you're right, Sean, you're right. And I'm not.
Was he Australian, Sean?
You know, yes. You know, and I was like, I just was like, thank God for Tom and thank God for Sean, because, you know, and then the taxi just pulled up at the airport. You know, it was one of those mad drives. And I was like, oh, thank God. So your podcast has been, you know, 2:00 in the morning trying to get a flight home, which I ended up delayed on. And I was there for 6 hours.
Well, look,
I listened.
Andrew, thank you. And thank you for everything. And your Sunday service as well. For many of us on a Sunday night, I quite often hop in later on for a bit of replay. But you are fabulous. You're a star. You're a star because you're giving. And that's the thing that I have to say. And you help everybody, and everybody has so much love for you. And you've done incredible, and I'm just going to say thank you. So I'm going to let you go and hang out in the green room for a minute, and I'll come and say a proper goodbye in a second. So you can sit there nice and quietly. Say goodbye to Andrew, everybody. Give him farewells. There we go. Wasn't that joy? What a pleasure to interview such an inspirational, and that could be quite an overused word, can't it? Inspirational. But Andrew is inspirational, I think, for everything that he has, you know, given to people. And I think you are watching a great motivator, a great speaker, and I can't wait to see where he goes next. And yeah, I'm sure he's going to be doing lots more big conversations and maybe, you know, helping you in your career, because I think we need people like Andrew who's got years of great experience and knows the highs and lows, and that's what you want to do. So that is it for today. I started out this morning at 9:00 as we went live with Lyndall from Australia. We have been here all day, and it's been a real high of mine today to be able to do this. And I just want to say thank you to so many of you that have come in and joined the conversation. It really has been an absolute joy. Thank you to Susan, who has looked after us brilliantly along with Andrew, and yeah, it's been great. So if you want to check out any of the interviews that we've done earlier in the day, they're there on the page. And keep loving the community. It's great to see this community growing. You're all incredible. You're inspirational. I'm going to be watching you all grow. There's many, many stars there. And thank you for allowing me to sing with Andrew. That has got to be one of my highs of all my life now. What a joy. So that is it. Just to bring attention, if you want to check out any of my podcasts, my latest one is there. I'll just flag that up. Simon Townley. If you haven't listened to the How to Cut It podcast, they are, well, I would say myself, they are wonderful. We get the stories, the insights, the inspirations from many, many leading names. And this young man is really inspirational. He's not let a bone disorder hold him back. He really has gone out and grabbed his moment in light too, and I think he's a star. Go and check out that interview. And yeah, we're going to have this interview with Andrew next week's How to Cut It podcast. Can't wait to share that. So I'm going to sign out. I hope I can come back to you again in the future. Thank you for allowing me to be here, and until next time, peace, love and smiles all the way. Goodbye.